Hello everyone, I'm Anukiran Khanna. I'm an English language trainer from Jalandhar. I took the computer delivered test of IELTS General Training and I got an overall band of 8.5. My experience at the IDP IELTS Computer Delivered Test Center has been amazing. I was very apprehensive initially because I was worried about the technology that they would use and about the smooth flow of the examination. But I was pleasantly surprised when I came to the examination center because the technology that they use is excellent, and everyone from the starting, when you enter the institute till the end when you leave, everyone that you meet is very respectful, they're very cordial, and they do their best to make you feel comfortable and respected. I chose IELTS because I aspire to be an IELTS trainer. This test is globally recognized and it is accepted in various countries and institutions as an English language test. I scored a band 9 in listening. Now, I prepared thoroughly with through the practice tests that are available on the IELTS website. I have some tips to share with you. To be able to get a good score in English, the first step is start listening to, start watching series and English movies. But the second step, which a lot of students ignore, is that when you see a visual platform and you see the context in which the words are being spoken, it is easy to judge things which you do not understand. So the second step before you give the IELTS is to start listening to podcasts, because you should be able to listen to things that are not visually in front of you and to be able to understand what the person is saying. You should listen to podcasts in which one person is talking and two people are talking. So you train your brain to be able to listen for the correct information that you need in the IELTS exam. Some important tips I would like to give you for the writing test. Your writing should include complex and simple sentences. By complex, I mean grammatically complex sentences. They should have more than 2 clauses. And a common myth is that you need to learn lists of vocabulary words to make your writing more sophisticated. That is detrimental and that lowers your score, in fact, because those words that you learn from a list, you will not know how to use them in context. And an examiner is can very quickly judge that you have used those words forcibly just to sound more sophisticated and use a high level of English in your writing exam. That lowers down your score. To be able to score well in your reading exam, you should start reading every day if you're not doing that already, at least for 15 minutes. Anything that you can lay your hands on. I would suggest reading the news because that eventually will help you in your writing exam as well. And time management is a very important thing. If you are getting a good score in reading, you must check if you're getting the same score under exam conditions in that limited period of time. What you also need to take care of is that the time at the exam center will start from 60 minutes and it will go down to 1. So if you're used to going from 1 to 60, you might be very confused during the exam. You need to prepare using the clock that goes from 60 down to 1. My speaking test at the IDP center was better than I had expected because I was very worried about a video call with the examiner. I was of the idea that I'd be more comfortable if the examiner was sitting in the same room as me. But once the exam started, the technology was so superb that it did not matter that the examiner was sitting in another part of the country. Some tips I would like to give you for your speaking test, and they are that you will be tested on your fluency, coherence and cohesion, vocabulary and grammar. Your fluency will get affected if you're very nervous. So calm your nerves before you go in for the test. And please treat the examiner as a human being. Have a conversation with the examiner. The examiner is not a robot. So if you have learned your answers, the examiner will be able to judge immediately and that will lower down your score. During the speaking exam, your speaking style should be formal. And it should not be an informal colloquial setting, and it should not be treated like an informal colloquial setting. You need to again use complex and simple sentences. You should need to practice gathering your thoughts and speaking with a logical flow. The examiner should be able to understand what you're saying and there should be a consistent flow to it. You can't throw random ideas at the examiner for them to then later put together and get a coherent piece of speech. Three tips that I would like to give the aspiring test takers are that you should work on your time management. This is not only an English-based test. It has a lot of strategies involved and you need to be able to manage your time to get a good score. So you need to practice in exam conditions when you're preparing for the test. The second is that you need to stop learning lists of words, as I've already told you, to make your writing more complex. Complex means complex grammatical structures, not using words like plethora. The third tip is that you need to understand there are two kinds of pauses in a speaking test. One pause is a natural pause where you pause to gather your thoughts about the content. The second kind of pause is where you fumble and you're nervous and you hesitate because you don't know what to say. The first kind of pauses are very natural. You should not try and avoid them because otherwise you will sound robotic. The examiner knows that any person talking to another person will pause and gather their thoughts. If you are pausing because you don't know what to say and you are hesitating, that will lower your score. So don't work too hard on removing all the pauses. Let the natural pauses come. Work on your fluency and try and be less nervous. There are various rumors and myths related to the IELTS exam. If someone tells you it's a very difficult exam, please understand that what is difficult is for you to actually sit down and prepare strategically and put in the work that is needed. If you prepare well in the right way and you have the right strategies, then the exam is easily doable. Final piece of advice is that since there are so many myths around this exam, please filter out all the noise and prepare strategically. Go through the material that is provided on the IELTS websites. Those are verified sources. I hope all the tips and tricks I shared today will help you prepare well for your exam. Do prepare strategically and don't be nervous. I wish you all the best for your exam.